Yeah, good evening. This is a special shoot, a special post-game shoot, and we are doing live from the studios of Art Focus, beautiful place in Anaji. Lucky,
Yeah.
it's rare that we get to talk about football on Monday evenings. But how was your day today?
Kofi was great, but I think that it was made much better with the Manchester United Liverpool game. We know you. You're a United fan.
Yeah,
I'm neither a Liverpool fan nor a United fan, but
you're a neutral.
let's look at the game
Exactly.
itself. Where do you think United won the game?
Well, I've always said that if you look at United in the past, the difference between United and the top teams, the Man Cities, the Liverpools, the Real Madrids, the Bayern Munichs, the difference between those teams and this particular team has to be the attitude. I think that this game was won because of the attitude, because of the desire, not because of any special skill set. It was down to attitude. So it was down to hunger, it was down to attitude, it was down to the players wanting to do something to as it were,
Make up for the
exactly
mistakes.
for all of the things that have been said about them in the press, for all of the things that have been said about the manager. But that's it. It was a beautiful game for the neutrals. High octane game. High octane game. What do you think? What do you think accounted for the abysmal showing of Liverpool rather in the first 30 minutes, where I think the game was won?
I think that from the get-go, it was not so much of what Liverpool failed to do. It was so much of what United did right.
Okay.
The ability to press Liverpool high up the pitch and ensure that
Were you
they.
surprised at the pressing?
I was also surprised because this is Eric Ten Hag. That is how he loves to play. He afforded the Liverpool, back line and the entire midfield very little space to operate in. If you watch how United set up, it didn't even allow Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold the opportunity to come forward as we know they always do. I think they started coming forward from the 40th minute thereabout. So it was so much of what United did right, as opposed to what Liverpool actually did wrong. I feel that you made mention of the attitude. For me, it's more of a reactionary attitude to everything that has happened. They reacted to the situation. The big question is, can they consistently do this? Can they sustain this play? That is where I'm a bit of, skeptical about the whole thing. I feel that it's one of those games. Give them 4 or 5 games, they might go back to reset mode, and we might see the United that a lot of people have complained
Well,
about.
for me, I think that United are not going back to the reset mode. I've told people that I believe in Eric Ten Hag. I feel he's the right manager to take Manchester United back to the top. And he clearly has a plan. But, notable amongst the things that I saw tonight was elements who have been chastised. Yes, there was the presence of Casemiro in the stands, obviously. He would be vying for either of the positions of Fred or McTominay. But seriously, how do you rate McTominay's performance tonight?
Kofi, I think McTominay was awesome. Again, he knows that his position is under threat, and Casemiro will not come to battle him for position. Casemiro will start. My only problem with the United midfield is Casemiro is a destroyer. He disrupts play. He's not a progressive midfielder that United were seeking to find in Frankie de Jong. But some have said that, well, Casemiro sitting at the base would mean that Eriksen and Bruno can fill that space and do whatever they are supposed to do. Then again, it again stifles the quality and the essence of Bruno Fernandes and what he brings to the team, because I feel he's more of a 10 than an 8. He loves to play with a lot of space, in front of him, survey the pitch and distribute passes, as we've seen him do countless times for Manchester United. But hey, this is Ten Hag. Going forward, I'm sure he knows how he can shuffle the cards. Let's switch focus and look at Liverpool. Do you think Liverpool have done themselves a lot of evil by not signing a quality midfielder, a midfielder that can replace the old cogs in that midfield position there?
Well, I think that midfield has been crying out for ages. Yes, We all know Thiago Alcantara is quality. We all know the job that Fabinho does. We all know the job that Henderson does. Fabinho, Henderson typically destroyers, they disrupt play, but they are technically gifted, can do the job. So if you look at the Liverpool midfield, yes, they've signed a lot of players. They've signed Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. They've signed Naby Keita. They've signed a lot of players, but nobody has been able to position himself. And I think that, I mean, with all of the players that they have signed, it amazes me that they're still a bit threadbare in that midfield when it comes to quality. And for me, I don't think that Liverpool needs to go out to sign. I think Elliott played a great game. He's one for the future. I think Caballo is also another name you need to watch. But Liverpool, really, do they have the quality to challenge for all it takes? And you see, as much as you want to talk about the midfield of Liverpool being threadbare, I think that a lot of credit also needs to be given to that defense. That defense of Manchester United today. Is that the end of Harry Maguire?
I think so. Listen, as a defender, you need character, you need attitude, you need to command. That was a bold step. You need to command that zone. Martinez and Varane did that perfectly well. You saw how the telepathy between the two players, how they commanded the defensive line. They were shouting at each other. When anybody commits a mistake in there, you could see they were shouting at them. That is what Maguire fails to bring to this team. I think that though he's a leader, I always say there's no SI unit for who a good leader and a bad leader is. But for a central defensive pair, you need that understanding. For some reason, for that short period, like again, let's not be too quick to conclude or put out a verdict.
But I think there was enough camaraderie between the two players. I mean, if you look at Varane and Martinez, they were giving each other high fives. I mean, yeah, exactly. So they looked comfortable with each other. And I think that there's a cliche in football that you don't change the central defensive partnership. You can alter any other position of play, but you don't alter the central. I look at Maguire on the bench, and I think he's thinking to himself, "Get me out of here. Take me to Chelsea."
Before we check out,
Yes.
Van Dijk. I watched Van Dijk and the first goal that was conceded, and I feel, what was he doing? He had his hands at his back. What was he trying to block? What was he trying to prevent? When Milner went in and he was literally wiped off the floor by Sancho, I expected him to be the second cover up. He was standing. He literally gave Sancho the leeway, passed the ball into the net. I have always questioned his defensive modalities. Yes, there are different kinds of defenders. He prefers to defend in spaces, but I think Van Dijk needs to understand that every game and how or what you bring on board. And I think that this game, he failed to be that leader in that defense, and it hurt Liverpool very well. I think he needs to start thinking about how he defends. I don't know what you think about, Van Dijk.
My verdict on Virgil van Dijk, good player. I won't do.
He's excellent.
Yeah, he's an excellent ball playing defender. I don't think he's one of the greatest defenders in my candid opinion. I think he's had a good 18 months in his career where Liverpool have won everything. He's gotten off. He's come back from a terrible injury, career-threatening injury. But I think that the whole Van Dijk episode needs to be looked at again. I think that as we bring this episode to a close, guys, watch out for the other episodes in the future. As always, go to our YouTube page, Sports101. Comment, like, share your opinions, grant us feedback, and we promise to be back with bigger.
But it was a good game.
It was a great game. The miracle man is back. The renaissance has begun. The revolution has begun. The revival. I don't want to sound like a preacher. See you guys next time.